So we now have 10k, we can afford it, we're gonna get it. Yeah, we're gonna up the weapon ante, because I'm probably still gonna main the pistol, because I can keep them at a distance with that, but... Okay, that's a little pricey for me right now. I like that we start with an Enfield. We start with a British World War I bolt action, we move on to a Cold War-era Russian semi-auto, and then a North American 50 caliber. We're actually crossing a lot of country selections here. Let's see. Colt, okay, so that's American. Beretta, Italian. Desert Eagle, technically a co-production of America and Israel. American, okay, so the machine guns are all American. That feels appropriate. Bazooka's American, Stinger's American, RPG-7, so that's Russian. I always find it weird, like, a lot of games use the Stinger in a way that it's not, like... The Stinger is a surface-to-air missile launcher intended to shoot down aircraft. Why do so many people use it as a ground rocket launcher? I know exactly why, because it's recognizable in that role. Like, everybody knows, like, that the Stinger is a thing and it exists. And it's this cool piece of high technology, but it's used to shoot down planes. You don't direct impact people with it. Not that you direct impact anybody with a rocket outside of video games. That would be hilariously overkill. I don't know. I'm senselessly splitting hairs to have something to talk about. I'm sorry. Some viewers complain I don't talk enough, and then other times they complain that I won't shut up. He dead? No, he's dead, okay. I forgot whether or not he would twitch when I shot him. Alright, there's an XP progression. So much was added here! I mean, things were added for Decision 3, too. The problem is just that having to rely on the survivors you get and having to grind it out, the implementation... Because the problem is, who you find and where, there are certain tendencies, but it's randomized, which means that your availability of, like, human resources, and therefore the defenses you can build, is at the mercy of RNG. I never like being at the mercy of RNG. RNG is the enemy. I mean, let's be fair, a little RNG is not a terrible thing. I've played pen and paper dice games. I mean, without the dice to introduce an RNG element, that just becomes a protracted math problem as to who wins and who loses. But the problem is, not getting a good dice roll on, like, the survivors you find in a region can stall your attempt to expand to another region for several in-game days. That's just not... That's not a great way of having that happen. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to make the numbers consistent. Like, that's not what I'm lobbying for here. My point is that there should be some indication of who you're going to find, you know, when you hover over a region, rather than going in there, hoping to find X and end up finding Z. Ah, you see, I knew he wasn't dead because he came up on the threat indicator. The radar doesn't lie. I'm still being, like, really lousy about looking for secrets. I'm killing... I can't... This is the problem with, like, I've noticed a lot of Let's Players, because people have commented on that, like, oh, you know, how are Let's Players so bad at games? It's not that they are. The problem is trying to think about things to say and talk and playing the game. I mean, if nobody's, like, tried doing an LP session, they don't know that I can play a game just fine if I'm focusing and I'm doing it in silence, but if I have to talk, if I have to banter, I'm having to split my brain between two things, and one's going to suffer, if not both. And I'd say in this case it's both. I'm rambling on the speech end, And I'm not looking for secrets. Oh, he's got a gun. Always with the throwing things. Or yeeting, as the kids call it these days. Yeeting. Love to find the origin of that term. Who uttered the first yeet? Oh, nope, there we go. What will happen first? Yeah, I figured. Excuse you. I'm trying to make a transaction here. You wait your turn. There. The ATM's free. A nice feature is the audio cue when a zombie dies. You get that. Yeah, there's always a tone they emit so that you know that they're actually dead. That's one of those things that's done in a lot of quality games that other game developers who produce less quality work, they don't understand the importance of something like that, so that you know that you don't have to worry about that guy anymore. And the argument is, well, maybe you shouldn't know, maybe they should always be a concern, and it's like, well, that's just inclined to feed into the player's paranoia. And unless that's the point of your game, like you're really leaning on the horror aspect and you want the player to be terrified and paranoid, there's no, like, reason for doing that. I can also hover over the generator icon and not automatically be drawn in like a moth to the flame. So yes, we now have a threat counter. And I can tell exactly where the dead are. No, undead. I think in the third game you can actually, upgrade this to be capable of detecting the secrets, which, or a secret hunter, makes it even more valuable. I mean, for the record, I never said that I did not enjoy Decision 3. I just said that Decision 2 felt like the better candidate because of the fact that that Survivor thing kind of, you know, put the air out of my tires. Oh, once I get the landmines, you zombies are gonna be in for a fun time. And presto. Okay, so tower capture. Actually, what can we... Oh, aside from, like, ATM, you know I'm gonna upgrade business. It's all for getting more money, because I'm going for the snowballing effect. Investing early on in stuff that gets you more money means that everything else in the roster, the whole arsenal, all of your abilities, it all comes faster. That's what I'm going for here. Do I need money to capture the tower? I do, and I don't have enough... Well, you know what? We'll capture the tower, and then I'll invest in the mines, because I have plans for those. Actually, I think this even works by Castlevania rules, where the threat level is generally worse at night. What a horrible night to have a curse. Now, I don't know what happened with Legend of Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2, because just... Oh, they missed the mark on both. I mean, Castlevania 3 was just insanely difficult. My favorite of, like, that era is still Super Castlevania 4, because that was just awesome. There's a jump! haven't even had to whip out the shotgun yet, because I'm just trigger spamming. Like I said, in my mind, Sarge is just fanning the hammer like some Old West desperado. Ooh, headshot. Somehow I feel more dangerous than I did in the first game. And I'm still using the 6-gun, or the 8-gun, given the shot count right now. Alright, we're gonna clear before we trigger that, because we're gonna end up attracting everything that's not already dead. Ah, the double barrel actually only has 2 shots now. What? Tighter spread, though. More effective as an actual shotgun. I mean, your starting shotgun in the first decision was a bit of a joke. You basically had to have it down the enemy's throat, or else half of your pellets were gonna miss. Oh! Oh, a cistern. Ooh, a cistern. Okay, well, with cisterns, I first like to make sure that there's not an ATM or something of value next to it, because you can blow those up. I'm not actually sure if I can destroy this cistern without killing myself, because of the pistol's range. Okay, a little further out, yep. Hey, I'm alive! It's you, isn't it? Yep. Threat level 0. And secrets! Also, my locator indicates the direction of my objective, which if you're just heading straight there, makes it a lot easier. I mean, that tactic means you're not going to find the secrets, which is not my preferred way to go. And of course, for those of you wondering if the detector might become visually distracting, you can always turn it off. I like leaving it on, because it's usually the hit you don't see coming that puts you in your grave. Where are all of you going? Okay, so I think it's time for the mines. Oh, decisions. Can I hold it off? With the way things are... You know what? Yeah. Still going for the snowball. Still going for that snowball strategy. I'll get the last one, then I can focus on business, and then I can get the mines. Maybe engineering. God, my strategy must seem like the strategy of a crazy person. Because it's just like, here I am with a revolver, and I'm focusing on upgrades that get me more money. I always go for the mage build, especially when it's a quadratic build. Because that's the trope, isn't it? Like, linear warriors and quadratic mages. Like, sure, the warriors, like, gain ability over time, but it's a linear progression of ability, whereas the mage starts off weak and stays weak for a very long time, but once you pass a certain level threshold, you just start exponentially gaining, you know, abilities and experience, and you basically turn into a game-breaking, magic-spewing god. Oh, nope, that might cause a sympathetic detonation, then I won't be able to access the ATM. At least this time there's not a queue. Okay, secrets? Warehouses? I'm really tempted to start my Rebuild LP series, though, with Rebuild 2, because I've played Rebuild 1. It's fine, I guess. It seems a bit basic, but again, like... the first installment is always going to be the one that's got the roughest edges, because you don't quite know what works until you've tried it. I mean, you're a lucky development studio person, whatever, if your first attempt turns out to be brilliant. Then your fear is actually following that up with something that's just as good, if not preferably better. Yes, a reminder, because I'm honestly not keeping track of time, so I don't know how far into this I am. If the border is not working for you, let me know. I'll get rid of it, because at least now, like I said, the edges of the intended visible area are blackened out. We're not just staring into the ether. The null void. The phantom zone. General Zod's gonna pop out and make the zombie apocalypse even worse. Yeah, I figured that would be a secret. Gimme. Oh, that's a lot of you. I got 2 barrels, 1 for each of you. Oh. He needs 3. There's your 3rd. See, there's an instance where you might accidentally blow up the ATM before you hack into it. It'll respawn, relax. I mean, not during this mission, of course. The last thing that's going to start accumulating experience is going to be the shotgun, because if they get close enough for that, honestly, like, melee is a good option if it's upgraded. It's probably not something I'm going to upgrade early on, though. I might put 1 point into speed, because you can't sprint without putting a point into speed, so there's literally nothing left for me to kill.